Here we go. And call to order this meeting at Kerrville City Council Workshop on May 28th at 4 o'clock. And our first item on the agenda is citizen speakers. Do we have any, Shelley?
Yes, sir. We have 5.
Number 1.
Jim Keynes.
Jim Keynes, I'm a resident of Kerrville. This is an honor and a pleasure for my first time speaking at the mic to thank Mr. Roman Garcia for his, let me get this up a little bit.
It'll pick you up. It'll pick up.
I think you're good.
Then I'll have to slide it back down. Roman Garcia, just wanted to get up here and thank you today for your service to Kerrville. I've got to see, I can't say I watched you grow because I think I grew just from watching your performance on City Council. I just thank you for allowing me personally to have a voice. It says, your voice, your city, and I felt like I was given that voice, not only to me, but to all of the residents of Kerrville, and I just want to thank you for that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things I like to say, and I'm pretty sure someone else is going to say it, so I want to make sure I can serve the time so that everybody can get in and say what they need to say. But I do want to send you off with 2 coins that really remind me of you. The first one is the armor of God, because I watched you. You put God first in everything you did. And then the citizens, well, I know your family came second, but the citizens, thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for the fight that you had and looking at the well-being for not only your constituents, but for property rights and everything else that needed to be taken into consideration. Thank you for the questions that you asked, whether you got voted down or whatever. I appreciate just the fight that you had and the courage to stay in that fight. And the second coin I want to give you is this one on the front of it. You can't see it from here, but it says patriot, believer, and I have a hard time with this, and faithful always. And that's what you have been. What you did, what you said you were going to do. You said that you were going to bring transparency. You brought transparency. And even though there were things that I thought I would like to have go my way, they didn't go that way, but that you did what you said you was going to do, and I appreciate that. And if the council would allow me, I'd like to walk up and present these to Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next.
Sandra Garcia.
I wasn't sure that I was going to talk this evening, but as Mr. Kane said, we are very God-driven in our family. And I felt Holy Spirit tell me to come up and share this with you. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And that is what you have done, Roman. It's one of my favorite poems that I always recite, and you have taken the road less traveled by. Not many kids your age at 14 choose to become a certified referee and make that your early living. Not many at 18 or 16 would want to be part of a city council government, and you chose to. And that made the difference for you becoming a councilman. I'm very proud of you. But more than anything, I think the very end that has made all the difference. What has made the difference is that you have taken those roads that are less traveled by people. You didn't let your age define you. You stood up for what was right at all times. And what made the difference for you as a councilman is that you sat there with respect to all your councilmen. You never ignored someone, turned your back towards them, looked down and looked busy at the dais while people were speaking to the council. I think that was very important. You've always demonstrated your character. And for that, I am very proud of you. You chose to stay and serve your community when you could have easily gone to university and done anything else, what teenagers do, and I think you chose the more admirable path. And that is going to make a difference in your life. You're already seeing that. More than anything, I'm up here because I wanted to thank the community that has supported you, my son. I've never felt a part of this community until your dad ran for office and we met some incredible people. And then when you ran for office, sitting at that parking lot, people who we never knew would come up and say, oh, I brought you all coffee. I brought breakfast for you all. I brought lunch for you all. People who came and said, I don't live in the city, I live in the county, but I want you to know I'm praying for you. People who actually came to pray for you. Kerrville is an incredible community for supporting you and having faith in you, and we're very grateful for that, to the community. To those staying on council, I ask that you truly do take Roman as an example on how you lead on this council. And listen to the people, not just your agenda. What is it that the people are asking you to do? Thank you.
Thank you. Mom.
Cheryl Fitch.
Okay, can you hear me? I should have worn higher heels, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I should put that camera on.
Okay, I'll remember next time. First of all, congratulations to all of you who just won your elections. And congratulations, Delane, to you for your new appointment. But I do want to thank you, Roman. We've seen you display special leadership skills from the time you were on the Youth Advisory Board. And I just thank you for the diligence that you spent in doing all the research for a matter to evaluate what are the ramifications of what I'm voting for. And I also want to commend you that you garnered the attention of conservative leaders outside of our community, such as Colonel Allen West, who publicly described you as a fine constitutional conservative. And other people saw you that way too, because last year you were invited to speak to a group at CPAC. So I know that you have many other offers and invitations that I have no idea what they are, but I do look forward to seeing your next chapter in your life book. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mario Garcia.
Guess we all know what this is about. That's my boy. I'm very proud of him. And they often say that teachers learn from their students, or they say that parents learn from their children. I've never really quite understood that if I have more experience. But sitting there watching him grow, I've learned quite a bit. I mean, there's so many. Nobody here completely knows how this has been, how he's had his hand or affected into this diocese, much less this community. There's a couple I'll go into, and these are kind of brief stories, but I remember the first time was him coming up to me while I was running. He says, I want to be your treasurer. I want to be your treasurer. And I said, well, you got to figure that out. I'm ready to go. Got the paperwork and everything. We end up coming down here, and with all due forgiveness, Shelley says, no, you can't be. And I'm looking at Roman as if, did you take care of this? He says, we're fine. And he gives her a number and says, you need to call this number. She ends up sending me an email later on and saying, Mr. Garcia, Roman's correct. There is no age requirement to be a treasurer in the state of Texas. And so we ended up coming back, signing the paperwork, and Roman was my treasurer. And I remember somebody mentioning one time in the office saying, well, are you really going to let him handle your money? And I said, do you have any idea how much is in his account? He saves his money. Another one was, why don't we have on the agenda item, why don't we have city manager's report? That's because of him. Because they would just put city manager report, and it'd be blindly whatever the city manager would come up to say. And he ended up finding out there was a case, Corpus Christi versus, I remember it, Corpus Christi versus state of Texas. And it went to court, And the city manager cannot just put city manager report. He has to present his information, his agenda items, and everything else. And I remember that turned into a meeting, and eventually I had basically a city manager tell me that, well, I have it on good accord. I said, over the state of Texas? And I ended up saying, well, we'll do a FOIA request. Didn't get the FOIA request, but it stopped being done on there. And that was because of him. I think in our family, we've always talked about playing up. So if you're a 10-year-old, you should be able to play with 12-year-olds, right? Play baseball, raise my kids playing sports. Play up. I think this is indicative of what that is, playing up. At 18, winning and going into being 19, that's really what that is. The other thing is we end up raising them is that, nothing's personal. That's hard. But nothing's personal. Think about it. I could say whatever I want to anybody in this room, but do I really know you? No. The only people that can make it personal to you are very intimate groups. Maybe your siblings, maybe your children, maybe your spouse. That's really what it is, but it's not personal. And he's been indicative of that throughout the entire process of people coming up and saying something or not saying something, but it's not personal. Because the way to make it personal is that I'd have to have been married to you or your brother or your sister or whatever to know the small intricacies within you that I know. When you were 5, you did this, or when you were 12, so it's not. And he's been that. Last, never disrespect your opponent. Never disrespect your opponent. That's why in baseball, when it's 15-0, a good coach is going to sit there and say, hey, let's get this other kid to pitch. Let's move some players around. Let's really respect the other team, because it's not fun when it's 30-0. Never disrespect your opponent. But here's the other half that no one mentions. Never let yourself be disrespected either. That's why you'll see in baseball, a batter will get pinged. Why? He disrespected the pitcher by standing in that box while he hit a home run, watching it, doing all these finagling with the bats and all this kinds of stuff. You disrespected somebody. So you guys have some big shoes to fill. He played up. He brought the rules here. We want to continue that. So I want to thank you, son, for what you did. You've taught me quite a bit. It was an honor to watch you go through this entire process, and I can't say any more about that, just to say that I'm a proud dad, and I appreciate what you did. Thank you, son.
You did.
Nikki Keynes.
Haynes, I had to write mine down because I was afraid I would blubber too much or I would ramble. Councilman Garcia, Roman, I want to applaud you as the youngest elected member to have served on City Council for these past 3 years. You've proved that critical thinking does work, as we've heard you dig deeper and ask additional questions regarding many issues. By doing so, you've helped clarify details not readily known to the community. We've seen you stand firm and sometimes alone when representing the voters and our concerns. The Founding Fathers came from diverse backgrounds and levels of education. They included doctors and lawyers and professors, and some with only 8th grade educations. They shared their ideas and literally sweat over the concepts and the wording of the Constitution and our Bill of Rights. I, and all those who have supported you, appreciate the intellect, the heart, and the drive for transparency that you brought to City Council. I pray God's guidance for your future, as I also pray for each of you to seek His guidance moving forward. Knowing your thirst for knowledge, I have a book for you that was written by 3 of our Founding Fathers. It was meant to justify and clarify our Constitution. It's a small gift. But in addition, you and our community will see a bench dedicated in your honor in the area soon. I just want to say thank you. And
Thank you.
congratulations to all of you. If I can.
Thank you.
That's the end of the citizen speakers.
The next item on the agenda is the statement and oath of office given by the Honorable Lucy Pearson, presiding municipal court judge, to Councilmember Place 1 appointee Delane Siegerman.
You'd repeat after me. I, Delane Siegerman, I, Delane Sigerman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly
that I have not directly
or indirectly paid,
or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay,
offered, or promised to pay,
contributed, or promised
contributed, or promised
to contribute any money
to contribute any money
or thing of value,
or thing of value,
or promised any public office
or promised any public office
or employment
or employment
for the giving or withholding
for the giving or withholding
of a vote
of a vote
at the election
at the election
at which I was elected,
at which I was elected,
or as a reward, or
or
as
as a reward. I was just thinking about your last
I
comment.
got you. Do I need to repeat it?
No,
Are
no,
you good?
or,
Okay.
what, yeah, what
Yeah,
was the
okay.
last one?
Or as a
Or
reward
as a reward
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Okay.
There's one more.
One more.
How soon we forget.
This is the hard one.
All right. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I, Delane Siegerman,
I, Delane Sigerman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of City of Kerrville Council Member, Place 1
of the City of Kerrville, Council Member, Place 1
of the state of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will do to the best of my ability
and will do to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
You notice that she broke it up a lot more
I know.
than,
I was like,
than
this
Pat
one.
did for y'all. Roman. So, absolutely. Thank you and good luck with everything in the future.
Thank you, sir.
Roman? And Roman, since you brought it up last time,
Well, Coy now has one of mine too.
Gotta stash them everywhere.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you
I
very
have
much.
here a certificate in the name and authority of the City of Kerrville, Texas. This is certified during the special called city council meeting held on May 21st, 2024. Delane Siegerman was appointed to serve the remaining term as Kerrville City Council Member, Place 1. I've signed that.
Thank you.
I did not sign it.
Thank you.
Our next item is three items that we need to discuss in executive session. They would be under 551.086 and 551.071. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Do we need to name each of the items?
No, you just name the sections.
I move we go into executive session under sections 551.086 and 551.071.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Or, okay. I need to stop that. Okay, we are now heading to executive session upstairs.